going on, people? How's it going? We're streaming. We're streaming some 2020 presidential candidate tier lists, and by plural I mean singular. There's only one. I mean, I'm sure there's a bunch, but they're all the same. But we're only gonna do one of them, you know. So yeah, I was just thinking about this today, and I was like, I know at least half these people, and I know at least passing secondhand information about half these people. So I was like, I think it's it's incumbent upon me specifically to make a tier list like this so that I can finally inform the public of the proper decisions they should be making in this upcoming election. You know what I mean? So it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be extremely well informed. I have seen zero of the presidential debates, but I have seen all the popular clips that go surface on the internet after those things happen. So those always show the most important or the most memeable things, supposedly. So that's fine. And also, I follow everybody on Twitter, so I see all the stuff that they post all the time. So I'm pretty much aware of most people's standards and beliefs and stances and all that. So this is gonna be cool. It's gonna be fun. And everyone's gonna love it and no one's gonna be upset. And we're all just gonna be a group of civilized adults who've never met each other having a cool discussion about politics. It's gonna be so nice. It's gonna be really good. Yeah, so that'll be cool. And then we're starting the stream off with a donation from Galleonoris, $9.99, saying this is gonna be great. Don't forget Yang's anime video on income inequality or income equality. Excuse me. I didn't see that. I didn't know that happened. So you can feel free to explain that one in the chat. But yeah, dude, we're gonna talk about Andrew Yang. We're gonna talk about Bennett, Biden, Booker, Bullock, Buttigieg, Castro, De Blasio, Delaney, Gabbard, Gillibrand, Harris, Hickenlooper, Inslee, Klobuchar, Messam, Moulton, O'Rourke, Ryan, Sanders, Sestak, Swalwell, Warren, Williamson, Yang, Trump, and Weld. So it's gonna be good. I mean, we'll talk about half of them because, okay, you can see in the tier list here that there is a who tier, which is who is this person? And anybody that I've never heard of in my entire life is gonna go in the who tier. And there's a few of them. So we're going to start with that. Well, we're not going to start with that. We're going to go from left to right and see where that gets us. Let's start things off finally. We're doing this. Sunburn for president? That's right. I should be on this tier list. One day in 2030-something or 40-something, we'll get there. That'll be good. What the hell? Who's Weld? Dude, that was my also reaction. I didn't know anybody was running against Trump. I had no idea. Assuming that that's even still a thing. I don't know when this was made, but I know some of these people have dropped out already. So, it's gonna be good on that. What's up, Connor Smith? How's it going? Why do you look tired? Because I get plenty of sleep. That's why. I get so much sleep that it actually has the opposite effect, and it does not rest me. And so that's just what happens. Also, I don't go outside very much. That's probably it. It's probably most of it. All right. First, we have Bennett, who I have heard of. I know he was in one of the debates. I don't know a single thing about him. So he goes into the who tier. Anybody who wants to say anything about Bennett can do so in chat, and I'll, we'll be looking at it while we're talking about other people as well. Puts them all in who tier. Not all of them. What if I put Biden in who tier? Would that just discredit this entire thing? You don't know who Joe Biden is? And you're making a presidential tier list. But Biden's up next. Dude, Biden... Oh, also, the way I'm going to rank these is based on chance of success to, be... to, actually get the nomination. And also with, a mixture of how I feel about them personally. So, some of this would be, objective. And then some of it is just, personal bias. And we'll sort of balance those things out against each other. Should be good. Should be fun. Okay, so Biden started out as the front runner, right? He was the one. Everybody was like, "Oh, Biden's gonna be the one to challenge Trump." When he initiated his thing, it's well, he's already been the VP to Obama. He's already, he's got this experience under his belt. He's been in politics for 40 years. He's been doing it, and everybody already had trust in him. Everybody was yeah, I mean, Biden, yeah, that's solid. That's a good front runner. So he was the front runner for a very long time. He still sort of is, but he's been trailing. He's been falling. Just every time they give him a chance to say anything, he has been going like that. and the other people who were sort of started out beneath him are starting to climb as a result of that, because people are like sort of scrambling away from Biden because he's, been showing his old manness as the thing has gone along, and just like saying stuff that doesn't make sense, or just like slurring his words, or I don't know, and then there. Honestly, the whole like creepy Joe Biden thing, that really didn't track at all. Nobody really was like, oh, he likes to smell people's hair. Like, okay, he's an old grandpa, so he had customs. Like, that didn't really do him any harm. It's really just been like him at the microphone either messing something up or saying something by accident that sounds really bad. Like, there's poor kids and white kids too. Like, yeah, it's fine. Like he says stuff like that. And he was like, oh, my mistake. I concede my time to the remainder of my time to my opponent, and feel free. Yeah, you go on ahead. I poll highest when my mouth is closed. That's Joe Biden. So, yeah, he's been dipping a bit, but he's not out by any means. He's still like at the top of them. Poor kids are just as smart as white kids. Exactly. Yeah, that was the quote that he said by accident. That's good. So, I don't know. Will Biden bounce back, do you think? Like, can he hold on to his lead? Biden accidentally referred to Bernie as the president in one of the debates. He's so funny by accident. Like, I don't know. It's hard not to like him because he's just like a threat to himself and others. Actually, just to himself. He's a threat to himself. And then, and also, he's the biggest target, like, because he had the, because he's had the lead at the beginning. Like, everybody's gunning for him because everybody wants to take his lead. So, like, the goal is also to make him look as bad as possible, but he doesn't need a lot of help to make himself look as bad as possible. But, is the difference between the internet and, like, regular people? Because, like, among regular people, his support really hasn't wavered at all. But, like, among the internet crowd, like, he's dropping. Because we see all the stuff that he does and whatnot. And then, we read all the think pieces about how, like, oh, Biden's too old, or he's too out, or he's got mental whatevers. So, I don't know. Biden is, like... He's still, like, the front runner, or, like, one of, but it's like, as far as, I still think he's A tier. He used to be S tier in the beginning, because it was like, oh, it's just a given that he's going to win, but he's dropped, but he hasn't dropped that low. I still think Biden is A tier, as far as, it's, like, if he still got the nomination, I don't think that would really surprise anybody. So, like, he's just like the solid person. He's a safe choice too. Like, if you support Biden, you're not really sticking your neck out. You know what I mean? So, I think that's a fine place to put him. You're funny, bro. Keep it up. Oh, thanks, Connor Smith. Appreciate it. This is a bad idea. This is a great idea. I got 51 people watching. This is gonna be a good time. Next up is Booker. Dude, Booker's one of these people who he doesn't even know what he thinks. He, like, needs to wait for his constituents to tell him how he's supposed to feel about things, because he just keeps changing. He either doesn't have a stance on something, he's like, I need to think about it, and then, he waits, he, like, sends out a mass chain email, like, hey, what should I do about this issue? What do you guys think? And then they're like, oh, you need to do this, and he's like, I come out fervently in support of this. This was always my idea. I've always said this, I just kept it to myself for a while. And he's just, like, weirdly intense. Like, I don't know, like, dude, his eyes, if you just watch his eyes when he talks, he's just like, hey, so this is what's happening right now. Like, I can't even open my eyes as wide. His eyes aren't even that big. He doesn't have big eyes, but just, like, how thick they look when he's just, like that, it's very scary. People call him Spartacus because he will take... Oh, yeah, it's like with the Kavanaugh hearings, I think, or there was some sort of event where, like, he was, like, questioning somebody. He'll basically just take any opportunity he can to grandstand. He's a grandstander. Cory Booker, he'll make a mountain out of a molehill in a speech and pretend it's the end of the world just so that he looks good, but he's acting. So, yeah. Booker is like, he's trying real hard to be president. He is not gonna make it, and he doesn't have a place. Like, he has not established himself as anything. Booker is a D tier candidate. In my personal opinion, he's just got nothing going on other than, having his eyes wide open at just whatever he's talking about. So, yeah. Who's the second Republican on the list? Dude, I got no idea. Absolutely no idea. We'll get there. I'm just going in order right now. Bullock is a Hoosier for me. I don't know anything about Bullock. Harvey Bullock from Gotham? No. Somebody else? Another Bullock? I got no idea. So I do not know about him. Next up, we have Buttigieg, who I do have some thoughts on. He's like running 5th right now, I think, or like 5th or 6th. He's like in that range, like the 4, 5, 6 range. So he's not a front runner, but he's not like not doing anything. Like, he is good in terms of polls-ish. Like, he can still come back and do some stuff. Buttigieg's deal is like, he's basically established himself as the gay Christian. And, like, that doesn't work. Like, Buttigieg basically wants to write a new version of the Bible, it seems like. Like, there's the Old Testament, then there's the New Testament, and then there's the Buttigieg Testament, where everybody treats gay people with respect and loves them and is like, yeah, you can get married in our church and can do whatever you want. It's like, that's just not what Christianity is about. Or, like, it's not, like, it's clear as day in the Bible. They're like, if you're gay, you need to not be gay, if you don't mind. Like, can you just not be gay? That would be great. And if you are going to be gay, you're going to go to hell. So that's bad. So, like, can you just not be gay? Like, come on, just don't be gay, Like, that's basically the religious part of it. And then Buttigieg is like, no, Christianity is about loving and forgiveness and all this and accepting people and stuff. And it's like, yeah, but, like, it also very explicitly states that if a man lies with another man, it's an abomination. So you can't really write that one out, which I'm not saying I agree with that. I'm just saying that's what it is. So, Buttigieg is sort of been on the... And then, like, dude, I hate some of the criticisms on Pete Buttigieg, though. Like, I think some of them... Like, they're mostly from people on the left who don't like him, who like a different candidate. They go something like, oh, he's a straight man's gay person. Or, like, Pete Buttigieg isn't gay enough to be... like, to be the gay candidate. Like, he dresses like a normal person. Or a straight person, I guess. He doesn't act gay. And, like, people have an actual problem with that. It's like, that's so stupid. There's no right way. It's like what Obama said when he was running. It's like, there's no one way to be black. And there's no one way to be gay. If you're gay, you're gay. No matter what your, lifestyle, personality stuff is, like, that's just, So, some of the criticism against him is unwarranted. I don't think he's really gonna establish himself very well. He's like 5th. I mean, he has some support, but I don't think it's gonna really carry him that much. I put him in like C tier. I think he's a C tier candidate. So, yeah, I think that's fine. I think that's all right. I think that's a fair point for him. Then we have Castro, who, of the people I have never heard of, he's the one that's, like, come up the most. And it's like, the only thing I know about him is that he like, flubbed something and was like, I believe in abortion rights for women, or something. And then people were like, do you also mean trans women? And then he was like, yes, I do. I also mean trans women. So it's like, okay, that's just sort of the thing you're dealing with when you're talking about Castro, I guess, is abortion rights for trans women. Those people who don't have uteruses. How about Yeah, so he's like, I don't know. I'll put him next to Booker. Like maybe I should just put him in the who tier, but like I have heard like a little something about him. So I don't know. That's fine. I'll tell Mr. Beast to give you 50 grand. You deserve it. Nice. All right. That works for me. Anybody who wants to give me 50 grand, like, I'm all for it. I don't even care who it is. Could be Mr. Beast, could be Mrs. Beast, could be Prince Beast. Taste the beast. I don't know, man. You just, whatever it is. I got no preferences. All right. Then we have De Blasio. De Blasio's still in, right? De Blasio, mayor of New York. Dude, where's Como? Is Como not on this list? This must have been made like a long time ago. Because Chris Como announced his candidacy like after the first debate. So then, so I guess he's not in here. And like nobody likes him. But nobody liked De Blasio either, mayor of New York. A lot of these people have dropped out, so I know that they've dropped out. I would have made a dropped out tier, but then I wouldn't have been able to like rank them. So it's like, we'll talk about De Blasio for a second. All I know about De Blasio is that I think people are really unhappy with him just as mayor of his own city, and like his city is like the second highest in debt city in the country, so like that's justified, if you ask me. And then the latest thing they've done to try to curb that is announce like a $250,000 tax on calling people illegal aliens. So it's like, oh, is that gonna put your state back on its feet? Is that all ideas are good ideas at this stage? It's like, all right. I feel like he is pretty much F tier. And I think there's a solid consensus on that. Like, I don't think anybody likes him. I haven't heard anybody support him. He did some rally and like 9 people showed up. I heard that. I heard he did a rally and there was only 9 people there. And I think it was in New York. So it's like, shit. Yeah. So that's an F. Delaney. I don't know anything about Delaney. Delaney is a who tier. One of these guys was like accused of using Republican talking points. It was either Delaney, Hickenlooper. I don't think it was Inslee. I think it was one of these two. I don't know, because like it's like any criticism of like a left-wing policy is like a Republican talking point. It's like, or you could just call it criticism and, provide an answer that would sustain that criticism and make it no longer a valid criticism. That would help. But, I don't know. So, all right, then we have Gabbard. Tulsi Gabbard, who has made waves because she believes the DNC is rigged, which I wouldn't doubt even for a second. Not least of which of what they, because like there's been like everybody's talked about like the Yang media blackout is like people just refuse to talk about Andrew Yang or give him any coverage because he is, providing, I guess, non-nonsense solutions to some of the problems that no one else is trying to address or something. I don't know. So. Oh, Devlin Husband just donated $5 saying S tier for whoever is against free speech. Oh, yeah, dude. Absolutely. Let's get Kamala Harris in S tier. Or Beto O'Rourke in S tier, please. That's where they belong. Oh, we'll get there. We will 100% get there. Gabbard, I don't know. Like, you can't really control who likes you. Tulsi's acquired this following of what is described by mainstream media as alt-right trolls and Russian bots and, I don't know, just generally undesirable people to, like, that sort of circle, and then they kind of smear her that way. So, dude, do you want to, like, not spam, though? Like, I appreciate A+ content. I do not appreciate 9 different exact things of A+ content, but I appreciate your patronage too. So that's great. Your enthusiasm is spot on. That's 100%. But Gabbard is one of the only people who's really taken... she's taken some decidedly conservative stances. And when I say that, I just mean, like, she's the only Democratic candidate that's come out against late-term abortion. Just late-term abortion. Like, hey, don't wait 8.5 months to get an abortion. Like, who's doing that? Who's waiting 8.5 months to get an abortion? Can you knock it off? Like, that's seems like a pretty common sense thing. But then all these other people have been talking about the right. Was it Buttigieg who said that abortion up until birth, like up until the first breath, was that his quote? I think that was his quote. That was either Beto or Buttigieg, but I'm pretty sure it was Buttigieg. He said abortion is good until the baby's first breath. So till birth. So, you know, once your water breaks, you still want to have an abortion. It's like, oh, that's cool. We'll deliver the baby. It'll be perfectly alive, and then we'll just let it die, and that's it. That's it. That'll be good. There have been Democrats, like, on the record basically saying that in certain situations such as those, that, like, the baby would be kept alive or be kept comfortable, and then the parents would make a decision of whether to kill it. So it's like, yeah. I thought post-birth abortion was a meme that I invented when I was 14 as a way to be like, you know what, I don't like babies, let's get rid of them. But apparently it's been adopted as a mainstream Democratic stance on abortion, and that's extremely troublesome, if you ask me. But so Gabbard is like the only candidate to come out against late-term abortion, which, even if you're for abortion, you should be against late-term abortion. Like, make a choice and make it quick. You know, don't need to stew on it for 6.5 months and be like, now that your baby's got a full heartbeat, full toenails, almost fully developed, like, fetal brain and, like, could survive outside the womb if delivered immediately. Like, now you're gonna decide to kill it? Like, that is actually murder. If your baby can survive outside the womb and you decide to kill it, you know, like, is that really controversial? I don't think it should be controversial. So, you know, yeah, all right. So then Gabbard, I don't think Gabbard has any sort of chance at, like, winning anything. But I think it's important that she's here. I think she's going to do a lot of good in terms of, like, not necessarily keeping the DNC honest or whatever, but I think she's going to raise to light some issues that are going to be highlighted by the people who want to highlight them. And I think that that's overall going to be good. I'm glad she's in the race. I don't think she'll win the race. I don't think she has even a snowball's chance of winning the race. But I'm glad she's in the race, which is why I will also put her at A tier in terms of it's very important that she's here. So I think we'll be doing that. Next up would be Gillibrand, who has dropped out already. Gillibrand was, all I really know about her was she was like the feminist candidate. Like, that's mostly what she was talking about, or like what was being talked about her was like, just like the super progressive feminist candidate. Didn't she get appointed to Trump's cabinet? I thought I saw a blurb of like, he's nominated somebody to do something and it was her. But yeah, she dropped out because she managed to get almost zero support her entire campaign. It was like 0 or 1%. The entire way through. So she really never did anything, and she basically never did anything. So it's just another D candidate. This is another, like, candidate that didn't matter, didn't need to enter the race at all, got her name out there, I guess, to get some other kind of job in politics, so if that works out, then great. There's 2 different Gillibrands? Oh, okay. So the other Gillibrand was the one. All right. Thank you for pointing that out. Now we have Kamala Harris. Harris is a tough one because she is another one of these frontrunners. She's another one, like, she's polling like fourth, fifth, like she's in the Buttigieg range. And she, dude, Tulsi destroyed her in that first debate. I saw that clip. Dude, laid her ass out on the table. She had nothing to say afterwards. I mean, she did, but, like, it was nothing. Like, she said stuff, but it was, like, a bunch of nothingness that she said because she had nothing to say. And it's like, damn. Just, like, laid out her record as a prosecutor or whatever. Just, like, who kept black people in jail for marijuana defenses or offenses, like, unnecessarily. And just, like, just basically went for, like, the harshest possible sentences in a lot of different cases. So she's one of those candidates that's like, you don't want her in power. You do not, like, if there's anybody to be afraid of being president, Harris is one of them. Because she is, like, yeah. And, like, she wants the president kicked off Twitter. And it's like, the president's tweets are newsworthy, and also it's how he communicates with the public. If you're going to, you want to silence the president's free speech or whatever. So, like, that is a tough road to go down. And I'll say that will never come to fruition at all. So, yeah, Harris is, and she's one of these candidates that's like, well, she'll just say whatever she thinks that people want to hear, just so she can get ahead. Because she's flip-flopped her position on issues like 4 or 5 times, just like back and forth, based on what the news about her is saying, or if there's some kind of perceived backlash. So, yeah, Harris is like, dude, do not put her in power. F tier, because you should be terrified of Kamala Harris. Then we have Hickenlooper is a who? It's a who what? Hickenlooper, Delaney, Bullock, Bennett, who? I have no idea. Inslee, that's another who. Klobuchar, I've heard a little bit more about Klobuchar. Just that she, like, threw binders at people. Like, that's all I've heard. Is that she's, like, a nightmare to work under. Like, she just treats her employees really bad. So... I don't know. It's just... I'll still just do who, like, just for the benefit of the doubt. But it's like, she's not going to do anything. Or, like, oh, no, I'll put her in D for that. I'll put her in D next to, like, Gillibrand and whatnot. So that's, fine. LOL, Sleepy Joe is A. Dude, all he has to do is not talk anymore, and he'll win the nomination. But, oh, another thing about Joe Biden that's funny is, like, he'll do these interviews, and then the interviewer will ask him, like, so why should people vote for you for president? And he'll just be like, they can decide for themselves. And then the interviewer will be like, but, well, do you want to, like, make your case? Like, do you want to, like, say something? And he's like, nah, they'll figure it. They'll do what they want to do. So it's just like, okay, he doesn't even campaign for himself anymore. It's like, it's almost like he's given up on himself. Or it's just like, even more, it's more of a strategic thing. It's like, hey, do you want to make your case for president? No, I just don't want to say any more words because there's a chance that what I do say is going to go down very badly and be an accident. So we'll just, let people make up their own minds. So that's fine. I've never heard of Massam or Messam. Did he even make a debate? Like, was he even in any of the debates? I don't believe so. I've never heard a thing about him. I don't recognize him, don't recognize the name. I got no idea. But yeah. Then we have Moulton, who I have also never heard of. That's going to be a big who. Oh, now it's O'Rourke time. Beto O'Rourke. Real name Robert, who is not Hispanic at all. So, but is trying to... He speaks Spanish at the debate. Dude, he's the fucking most pandering piece of shit I've ever seen in my life. Jesus. Like, I don't know what he is supposed to... I don't know who he's supposed to be for. Like, he had his golden boy year of when he went up against Ted Cruz. And, it, like, rallied all this support. And it's like, oh, even in the deepest red state of Texas... he come up against Ted Cruz and he almost won, but he didn't win. And then, and then it's just like, by the time he was running for president, everybody, they didn't forget about him, but they just stopped liking him. Well, because now it was like, everybody rallied around Beto when Beto was just a Democrat who was running in the state of Texas. So now he's running against other Democrats, and then everybody who likes other Democrats more than Beto O'Rourke is like, yeah, Beto, you need to get out of here. You're in the big leagues now. You're taking some stuff away from the people we like. We're gonna need you to step back a little bit. And in response, he's gotten a little bit crazy. He's gotten just a little bit, like, completely unhinged off the rails. Like, he is really struggling now. Dude, he went from like, oh, I'm cool because I stand on tables to give speeches and I skateboard across to my rallies or whatever, to just like, we're going to take your guns, whether you like it or not, And also, what were the other things he said? Oh, and now the most recent thing is like, yeah, we're gonna completely strip churches of their ability to freely practice their religion if it goes against our views of tolerance, which is literally unconstitutional and is completely flies in the face of separation of church and state, which is why America was founded in the first place, was to escape that kind of policy. Remember when we left the British so that we could pursue our religious freedom? And now Beto's basically, the King of England all over again, or whoever was behind that. So yeah, he's basically like we're watching him slowly descend into anarchy. Like he's gonna become an anarchist, and if this doesn't work out, I feel like he's maybe gonna turn violent. Like I think he might just go completely off the rails, and we're gonna see Beto O'Rourke in an insane asylum in like 5 years. Yeah, O'Rourke is wholly unelectable. I 100% agree. He's like Harris in terms of, dude, do not give him even the slightest bit of power because of what he'll do with it. Because of what he upfront says he will do with it. Harris at least is like sort of vague about it. Like you just kind of get the feeling that she's going to abuse her power. With O'Rourke, it's like, oh, he's telling you he's going to abuse his power. He's putting it right out there for everybody to see. So don't vote for him. So, yeah, you are F tier. And if there was a tier worse than F, I'd put you in that. O'Rourke is my most hated candidate out of all of them. He should go nowhere. He should be absolutely stricken from the record. Like, just drop out. You're not going anywhere. Then we have, at least he's honest, right? At least he's honest. At least he's honest so that we all know exactly how to avoid him and why. I do not know who Ryan is. I don't know who that is, so that's a who. Then we have Bernie Sanders, who just had a heart attack, which, bless his soul and whatnot. But, I don't know, like, just be... you think about Bernie Sanders' health, and then some people are like, oh, well, I guess he can't be president now because he had a heart attack. Dude, do you know how many surgeries Ruth Bader Ginsburg has had, and she's still a Supreme Court justice? Like, just because you have health issues doesn't mean... And they're going to keep her up there as long as possible, too. If she has, 8 strokes and becomes a vegetable... and is, in a coma or something, they're still gonna have people, by her bedside translating her slobber into, policy. Oh, Ruth Bader Ginsburg says we need to vote this way. They're gonna keep her until she's 100% brain dead. So, yeah, the health is not really a huge deal. I don't think you can say Bernie Sanders is done when RBG's still up and kicking and doing stuff. So... as far as, policy goes, it's Elizabeth Warren basically is Bernie Sanders. She basically adopted, all of his policies. And then just sort of added a bit younger of a person who's healthier. So I don't know. Sanders was this... How would you even say this? Just a placeholder for Elizabeth Warren? I don't really like saying that, but it's I guess that's sort of the thing. So, I don't know. Sanders is still, probably B tier. I would put him in B tier because he's not done by any means. I mean, maybe he is. It just depends on, what he wants to do. Just because he's, scaling back some of his stuff. It's if anything, people are just rallying around his health even more now. So, yeah. Sanders doesn't have near the support he had in 2016. That's probably true. But that's because there's, way other, more good candidates this time around. Sestak never heard of you. You go into the who tier. Oh, Swalwell dropped out. Dude, Swalwell was another one of these just horrible candidates. He had this thing. Oh, yeah, he's the one who said that, if... a tyranny or an armed resistance was not possible. Like, if people wanted to come take guns unconstitutionally or whatever, and the people, like, rose up and, like, formed their militia with, like, in, like, the anti-government, thing, which is what the Second Amendment is, like, half for. Half of it is so that, like, if the government becomes too powerful, then the people can, like, be armed and rise up and fight back and stuff. So then Swalwell was like, it's kind of pointless for you to do that when we have nukes, and, like, we'll use them. So, and then he became, like, a meme for that. It was just like, oh, Swalwell wants to nuke all the gun owners. So, yeah. Oh, and then there was that other thing, like, oh, yeah, because he's so disingenuous, or, like, he's so not genuine, is what I mean to say with that, because he had this post on Twitter of, like, him flying a pride flag for, like, LGBT, and then he was like, I've flown this every day for the past however long, and then it's like, you can still see the creases on the flag because he just took it out of the package, and everybody called him on it, and then he deleted the tweet. It's like, that's hilarious. So yeah, he's just a failure. He was another F-tier candidate in my opinion. Very much no chance of doing anything. There was nothing sincere about him at all. He they had nothing going on. So yeah, that was cool. And then we have Elizabeth Warren, who's one of the more interesting candidates. She started off like in 6th or 7th when things were going around. Not many people really knew who she was. And then she started gaining support because as Biden has fallen off, she's been one of the ones that's really like taken his stuff. And same with Sanders, really, because again, like Warren is basically just like female Sanders in terms of policies and stuff. But Warren is like specifically. Warren's weird because, she had the whole like Native American scandal thing. Hey, Kevin, is this stream going to be 2 hours long just because Trump is a controversial one? I don't have a ton to say about Trump, so. How long have we been going? 37 minutes? This stream won't be that long. So yeah, she had the Native American scandal thing. Where it was like, because she's like touted herself the whole time as like, I'm a woman of color. Even like when I graduated from Harvard or whatever, I had some sort of honor that was like, oh, Harvard finally did the first woman of color in this particular field or something like that. And so like she was always taking credit for that and just touted herself as like just a full-blooded Native American who had like ties to the tribe and like was enjoying some of those benefits that she obviously shouldn't have enjoyed, and then people were like, we don't really think you're Native American. She was like, oh, well, I'm going to take a DNA test then. And then she took the test, and then she triumphantly posted the results that she was 1,024th Native American. Like, that was supposed to be enough for people? I'm more than that, I bet. I haven't taken a result, but like, dude, the chances are pretty good. The average person... No, because I did actually look this up. The average person has more Native American DNA than Elizabeth Warren. She's actually on the lower end of the spectrum. Like, her genes are so non-Native American that she's actually special for that reason. So that is a joke called life. You can't write that one. I mean, you can write it, but the fact that it's real is just like, damn. Wow. And so then that was a whole thing, and then she was all like, oh, I apologize for appropriating or whatever, like, claiming to be this thing that I thought I was, but I guess I'm not, or it's my family lied to me, or I don't know. And then like her family was like, no, we never told you any of that. So that was the thing. And now there's this whole like pregnancy firing thing where she's talking about, and I'm not even saying this is a lie, but she was talking about like how like when she was visibly pregnant, she was like not rehired for a second year of a contract of some teaching thing because she was pregnant. So that was like a thing. She's been campaigning on that. And then people were like, well, we think maybe that's a lie because it shows that your contract was renewed for a second year. But you didn't take the job anyway or something. And then other people were like, no, but if you knew the times back then, you should know that that happens a lot, is people really are fired for being pregnant. And it's like, that's true, but that doesn't mean that happened in this instance. You know, you can't do a like, oh, well, people are fired for being pregnant all the time, and that proves that this situation is the same as that situation. It's like, that's not good logic. But again, I'm not saying she's lying. I don't even, I don't have a dog in that race. Like, I don't know what to think about that. I don't know if she's lying, I don't know if she's not lying, but that part doesn't really matter that much. If she is lying, then that's kind of a track record now. That's a pattern. It means she's a liar. If she's lying about both those things, it means she's a liar. If she's not lying about this, then it's just another happenstance thing, as people are just jumping down her throat for no reason. So, you know, that's fine. But then there's the other thing. It's like, and then she was so, I don't know, she's like the most afflicted with white guilt, it seems like, where, okay, so like she has transgressed on the Native American community, right? Like by saying that she's Native American but she's not. So now she's like so remorseful that she started this whole like reparations for everybody thing. It was like reparations for black people because of slavery, and she's also the only candidate that was like reparations for gay people because we didn't let you get married for a long time. So it's just like, you know, she's like, okay, I feel bad that I'm white and not Native American. So all these people who are marginalized communities, I will give you free stuff if you forgive me. Like, that seems like the rationale. So, yeah. I haven't heard about gay reparations in a while, though. Like, that was a blurb for a couple days, and that sort of disappeared. Same with black reparations, by the way. First of all, it's like who would pay those and who would get paid? Because like pretty much every single family in America has like a black slave in the ancestry at some point or something. Or and there were also a large amount of black slave owners, and that's something that nobody's talking about. So yeah, just like the logistics of that, of like who's actually getting paid and who's gonna pay, is like nobody can figure that out. So it's like you might as well just drop that whole thing. But Warren still is probably an A candidate just because of how she's doing in the polls. Like, again, this is objective, like how people are voting for these people, plus my personal spin on it, so it's not just one or the other. But so Warren is like inarguably doing well in the polls. And and she's, you know, I think she will overtake Bernie. Or she has already, or she is going to. It's one of the two. So, yeah, we got Gabbard in A tier because my personal feelings on Gabbard. Then we have Warren in A tier because of how the country is basically rallying around her. Like, she is really, like, establishing herself in that way. So, that's cool. Then we have Williamson. Marianne Williamson. She has to try so hard to, like, get rid of her image of being, like, this crazy psychic crystal ball lady. Just because, I don't know, some people, like, really, like, hate her. Because I guess she's had, like, some statements where it's like, oh, you can just... I think she said something about, like, praying away the hurricanes. Or just, like, or spiritual, like, emotional thing. Or, like, that you can just... I don't know, like, you know, she's a big, like, spiritual person, and so she really believes in the power of spiritual healing, emotions, the fact that they can affect change on the outside world or something like that. So, you know, she's ripe for those sorts of, like, you know, sort of batshit crazy things to say, like, beliefs, and, like, people will ground her for that. Like, you want a president who believes in the power of healing crystals or whatever, and it's like, and then she even said, there's like, I've never once said that I believe in the power of healing crystals. This is a smear against me. I am as serious as candidate as anyone else, and yeah, so, but she's also polling very negatively. So Williamson is, I would put her in C tier. I think she, only because, like, she became a meme for conservatives, which was like, dude, let's get Williamson in the next debates. She's got to be in the next debates. So, like, conservatives started donating to her just because they wanted to see her on that stage. So it's like, yeah, like, yeah, you know. So that's something. That was interesting. I thought it was funny. Then we have Yang. This was in alphabetical order, apparently. So Yang is last on the Democratic list. And with Yang, I think, people undercut Yang. I think people sell him short. He's got the most detailed policies of any of the candidates. They're on his website. You can look at them. He's got from circumcision to abortion to getting rid of pennies, or getting rid of change, or getting rid of paper money for change. I forget. Like stopping the manufacturing of coins is something like that. But basically just coins cost more to produce than they are worth. So it's unsustainable. It's like, dude, who's thought of that? Like, who else of these candidates is thinking about these issues? Andrew Yang is a pioneer trailblazer in regard to, these extremely, not that important things, but it could help. It's like, they're out of our peripheral vision, but it's like, if they were fixed, I guess things would be better. I don't know. So, and then obviously he's marked as, the UBI candidate, because he's like, I will give everybody in this country $1,000 a month, universal basic income. They can do with it what they will. It will help lift people out of poverty. It will help, it will also help addicts buy more of the thing they're addicted to, and it will also help people destroy their lives even more effectively. It just depends on what you do with money. When you hand people money, it's a double-edged sword, because certain people are going to take that money and use it to better their lives, and certain people are going to take that money and use it to more effectively destroy their own lives. So, it's a double-edged sword, but it's like, does that... And then, I guess what you need to do with UBI is take a ratio of, how many people would this affect positively versus how many people would this affect negatively. And then, if the balance is high enough in the positive, then it's like, well, can you afford to have the thing on your conscience, you're helping these lower people destroy their own lives or whatever, just for the benefit of these higher people being raised up? I guess you make that choice yourself. So I guess that's UBI, because the conservative argument against UBI is that there's so many people who are just terrible with money that this won't help, or that there's so many people who are so destructive that this will actually hasten their path towards annihilation. So, I don't know, I guess you gotta just, I feel like UBI would increase both extremes. I think UBI would help a lot of people out of poverty. I think UBI would also help a lot of people kill themselves. So it's like, is it worth it? What do you want to do? But yeah, Yang is on the rise, though. He's not on the rise like Warren or these people are on the rise, but he's just always been this the dark horse of the race in my mind. So I don't think he's gonna win, but I also think it's pretty important that he's here. He's got some of the same extreme positions that some of these other people have. Yang also does not believe in late-term abortion. He thinks that should be a woman's thing 100%, and it's and he also raised his hand when asked if he would guarantee illegal immigrants health care. And everybody on that stage raised their hands. So it's we're dealing with, these people are different, but they're also in many ways the same. So, you can sort of contrast their personalities and what particular things you like about them, but it's as a foundational thing, they are all still Democratic candidates, and they're going to do Democratic candidate stuff. So he was probably pressured. He was not one of the first people who raised his hand. I think he saw other people raise their hand and was like, oh, I better do that. But then it's and that's the problem with politicians in general. It's what can you take them at their word for, and what is something that they're just saying so that they can keep going, So, but I think Yang is probably, I would put him in an A. I don't think anybody's an S tier candidate on the Democrat side. I think A is as good as it gets. So, yeah, I think that's fine. And then we move on to, dude, who's Weld? Who is Weld? You go right into who. We skip over Trump for a sec. Who the hell is Weld? I got no idea. Isn't Justin Amash running for president? He's not in this tier list. Was he running, or is he just somebody who just came out against Trump? I thought he got a lot of press because he was running for president, or because he might decide to run for president. I don't know if he actually is, but I haven't heard really anything about him since then. But I don't know. It's whatever. And that leaves Trump. That leaves the president himself, the man himself, Donald Trump. One thing you could maybe say about all these Democratic candidates is that they are all doing their part to help Trump get reelected. You can make that argument, and lots of people do make that argument. Is that everybody is just watching these things like that LGBT town hall where they had like transgender 9-year-olds asking questions. Dude, if your son or daughter or whatever is trans at 9, like that's your fault. Like you did that. Well, that was not their decision. Like they might have said, like, "Oh, I think I'm a girl," and you're like, "Oh, we were getting hormones in you right now." It's like you trust like a 4 or 5-year-old to make a life-altering permanent decision? No, you don't. You don't trust them to decide what they want for dinner that night. You wouldn't trust them with this medical procedure that's gonna permanently change You don't. Dude, transgender kids is absolute bullshit. You can make that decision when you're. It should be, dude. You can decide to become transgender when you're 18. I would say that's fair. Like you decide to vote on the country. That's a life-altering thing that you get to do. Wait till you have at least some human brain stuff that you know what decisions do and how they affect your life and stuff. So just wait. So yeah. Okay. So Trump is, dude, I don't think Trump is an S-tier candidate. I don't think he's even that great as a Republican president. Well, here's the deal. Republican policies are what is hoisting him up. So, like, it's not the fact that he's Trump. It's the fact that he is implementing conservative policies that are making the country do better. So, like, it's not like his name's really on it. It's like any Republican president in his situation would do those proper things as well. And he's made plenty of mistakes also. So, I don't know. Like, it's not really just the fact that he's Trump. Here's the things that matter with the fact that he's Donald Trump versus just any, like, carbon copy conservative candidate, is that he is making the media tear themselves apart. All he has to do is just stand there and be himself, and then every journalist in the country is, like, outing themselves on Twitter and, like, revealing themselves to be, like, completely activism-based. So it's like, that's something that only Trump could do. Only Trump could sort of unmask the media in the way that he's done. But as far as, like, running the country is concerned, I think any Republican president really could have done that. So, I mean, you take the good with the bad. Trump is simultaneously, when you unmask somebody, you reveal their true nature. And when their true nature is revealed, they start acting like their true nature. So it's like, is it worth us, like, sort of finding out where these things stand if that means that they're all gonna be really, like, divisively insane now? Like, he is sort of creating... It's not that he's creating an atmosphere of insanity. It's that the atmosphere was already there, but he's just, like, pulled the veil over it. And then people were like, oh, now that Trump's president, it's okay to be mentally ill in our resistance of him. So, Trump derangement syndrome, it's a real thing. Well, it's not a real thing, but, like, it's a quantifiable, measured, So, you really gotta just... I don't know. Pros and cons of Trump. Pros of Trump is that he is a Republican president. That's a pro, in my view. At least in this day and age, at least in this particular time in history, I think conservative policies are better for us. Con of Trump, he is mean. Or, I don't know, like whatever. Like, he encourages people to be... He's a bad role model, let's call that, I suppose. So, pro, conservative. Con, bad role model. Pro, what's another pro? Pro is that unmask the media, but that's also a con, because the media is now this thing that nobody can trust, or that many more people think they can't trust the media, but it's like the media's not going anywhere. So they're still there. And if they're still there, then we still have to listen to them because they're on the TV all the time or they're on the internet all the time. Like, the fact that we've just changed them or revealed them for who they are that doesn't really help us because we still have to listen to that. So it's like until there's some replacements or something, I don't know. But otherwise, like, Trump to me is just like, I don't know. I don't know where I would rank him. Where would I rank him? Where would I rank him? Pro is that black unemployment is at an all-time low. I think that's just a Republican president thing. I don't think you can attribute that to Trump himself as a person. And that's what I mean with, like, the policies. It's just like, if you divorce Trump from the policies and just say, nameless conservative president did this, then it's like, well, that's what's good for the country, is just a conservative president. So, but that doesn't mean he doesn't get any credit for that, because you make a choice, if you're a conservative president, to govern conservatively. So, we can praise him for not failing or sort of going more or like caving to, I don't know, Democrat stuff. I don't know. I guess, I mean, there's certainly Republican presidents who could have been like steamrolled over and like treated as basically just figureheads and then had so I guess props to him for being too strong for that, I suppose. I'll put him in A tier. I don't think anybody deserves S tier. I don't think anybody is perfect in this list. I don't think anybody is just like a clear front runner, really. So, yeah. So we've got Biden in A tier, Gabbard, Warren, Yang, and Trump. These are the 5 for me. Well, Gabbard is never going to do anything. But I'm glad that she's there. That's why she's in A tier. I think her existence is important, but she's not going to win anything. Yang, I think Yang's existence is important. I think there's a very outside chance that he can like come and take it if like his support really keeps swelling. But it's a very outside chance. Like, if you want to bet on Yang, that's a very tough bet. But you could do it. So, there's that. And then Warren is A tier because she's just one of these front runners that's just gonna keep going up unless something real bad comes out about her. But she weathered the Native American thing. So it's like, I don't know what would really stop her. And then Biden is A tier just because he has the most initial support. Like, he's the most recognized candidate. And people who aren't huge on internet stuff and who are just like traditional, like whatever, is just like, we need somebody safe. If you want a safe pick, you'd pick Biden to like beat Trump. I think he's been polled as like he's one of the people who would beat Trump in an election. But I don't know what that poll was taken of or who. So, yeah. But it's like he's the safest one, so like you don't really blame people for Biden. And then Trump is just a Republican president, which basically just stands in the face of like most of the stuff these people believe. And a lot of the stuff that these people believe is absolutely crazy. So Trump is basically anti-crazy, and yet he is also crazy. So you're fighting crazy with a different kind of crazy. So you pick which crazy you like, and that's basically your stance on politics. It's just, which crazy do you prefer? Do you like this crazy, or do you like this crazy? Do you like policy crazy, or do you like human crazy? So, yeah, that's basically it. That's the tier list. I hope you enjoyed the tier list. It was fun to do. It was fun to talk about these people. It was fun to get some stuff out there. I enjoyed it. Yeah. Like, share, and subscribe. 24-to-1 like-dislike ratio. Hot damn. I even posted this one on Twitter. So, like, there was a chance that, like, outside people will come and see this who, like, aren't affiliated with me at all or know who I am. So it's like they'd be more primed to dislike stuff that they heard that they disagreed with, but give us your prediction, Albino. Who do you think will win? That's a good question. Who do I think will win the nomination, or who do I think will be the 2020 president? Like the Democratic nomination. I think Trump beats every single one of these candidates with a possible exception of Biden or Yang. I think those two. I think Warren would be another Hillary Clinton. I think, it would be like, oh, everybody thinks Warren's going to win, but then Trump pulls it out. So, I don't know, maybe it's just because they look the same. maybe that's the only basis for me saying that, but I think, yeah. I don't know, I think Trump might actually be able to just run a train on Biden. Like, conceptually, thematically, Biden is like more respected, is more, more seasoned in politics, more, could do whatever, more of like a stalwart sort of voice of whatever. But like, if he keeps going the way he's going, even if he got the primary nomination and then he actually went toe to toe against Trump and all this stuff, I think maybe he'd get completely run over. So I think, I don't know, maybe Yang. Dude, if for some reason Gabbard won the nomination, she'd beat Trump. She 100% would beat Trump. I believe that with all my heart. I think she actually would. Because every left-wing person that's against Gabbard for being some sort of alt-right darling or whatever, which is absolute nonsense, they would all be forced to support her because at least she's not Trump. So, yeah. Gabbard will not win the nomination, but if she did, she would beat Trump, I think. And then Yang might beat Trump. I think that could go either way. It really depends on how he acts as that whole thing goes on. Like, everything is dependent on how... Because Trump is going to be Trump no matter what. So it all depends on, like, what the Democratic candidate against him decides, like, what strategy they decide to take, what stance they decide to take. So... yeah. But I don't know, like, there's the foundation of, like, even the voting process is starting to sort of come apart at the seams, because, like, just like the way Gabbard was snubbed from debates, or a lot of these polls have, like, just completely omitted Andrew Yang, even though he's, like, one of the higher up people now, so it's just, like, and then, there's, like, all this insider leaking stuff that's happening in the news now. People are really trying to expose the processes that lay these things or that make these things happen. So if there's any like supreme bombshells, I think I don't know, like anything's possible, man. Oh, Sergeant Tubberness just donated $5, saying, not gonna lie, this is one of my favorite tier lists. Good job, SA. Also put up the next episode of Link's Awakening. Oh yeah, I am. I haven't canceled any of that stuff. So, yeah. And I've seen Yang on podcasts, so, like, I know what he's about. I've seen him on Ben Shapiro's podcast. I saw him on Joe Rogan. I think, here's another point to make. I think a Democratic candidate's willingness to go on a conservative show and just honestly discuss ideas without taking any sort of... like preemptive, defensive, or offensive stance, I think that says a lot about how good a person is, and that they would make a good leader. So, like, there's plenty of candidates just like, I will never set foot on Ben Shapiro's podcast, or like, I will never go on Joe Rogan's podcast even though he's liberal, but like, oh, but he's had Alex Jones on the podcast, so he's crazy now. And it's like, he just wants to talk to people, man. Just wants to talk to people and find out what they think. So, yeah. So Yang definitely earns respect by doing that. Tulsi Gabbard definitely earns respect by doing that. And even Bernie Sanders has done that, I think. Or at least he went on Joe Rogan. So, podcasts are like the way to actually hear politicians' ideas. Like, that's the new wave. if you ask me. So, yeah. You lost half your viewers when you put Trump at A, lol. I'll die him. I mean, it's just, dude, if you think he's anything less than A, then you're lying to yourself. Like, you really think that, like, all of these people could beat Trump? That's not true. There's, like, a solid 2 or 3 that can maybe beat Trump. So, like, just based on that. Like, you can't put him anything less than that. If I put Trump in F tier, I would be the least grounded in reality person in the entire world. So... Ooh, a Devilish Motive just donated $9.99 saying, nice tier list, man. Love your views on all these confidantes. Keep it up. Do a 2020 waifu tier list. Oh, God. Dude, no thanks. Well, we gotta work with Warren, Williamson, Gillibrand, Klobuchar, and Harris. Like, and Gabbard. Oh, number 1 is Tulsi Gabbard. Right? There you go. Number 1 waifu, Tulsi Gabbard. We got it. Okay, that's the whole list. Everybody else did not place. So we're totally fine. Alright, that's gonna do it for this stream, so I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, you can like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at SunburnedAlbino, and I will see you guys next time. Thanks for coming out.